Hello again, and welcome back to another REPL speedrun. Today, we're going to be doing challenges 5A to 5C. So, let's get started. Our first challenge is, given a string, delete all the characters with the @ symbol from the string. How are we going to do that? If you watched my last speedrun, the final question used a method called replace. So, for example, if we have a string as hello world, and we just printed s.replace the L with the O, this would replace all of the L's in hello world with O's, as you can see, hello world. So, how do we remove or delete all the characters? Well, it's very simple. Instead of replacing it with something, we just replace it with an empty string, like so. And this would delete all the L's from hello world. As you can see, it's deleted all the L's. So, all we have to do is configure it so that it takes the string as the input and that it deletes the @ character. And so if we submit this, it should work. And just like that, we've got it working. So, on to the next problem. What do we have here? Given a string in which the letter H occurs at least twice, replace every occurrence of the letter H by the letter capital H, except for the first and last ones. Right. So, we want to get the string between the first and the last string and replace all of the lowercase h's in it with a capital H. So how are we going to do that? First, let's get our string as the input. And let's get the first index in the string to be s.findH, which, if you remember, gives the index of the first H in the string. In this case, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we also want to get the last index. So the last index equal to s.rfindH. And this will give us the bounds of the string. So our first string we want to get is all the characters until and including the first H. So we want to get first string is equal to s, and then we slice it. So it's until the first index plus 1. Now, our second string is we want to get this part between the first H in the second H, and that's where we will replace all of the lowercase h's with the uppercase h's. So we have second string is equal to s, and then we start at first index plus 1, and we will end at the last index. And we also want to replace all of the lowercase h's with a capital H. So we can put replace lowercase h with the capital H. And then finally, our third string is equal to this part, from the last index of h to the end. So we simply put last index to the end. And if we print the first string plus the second string plus the third string, we should get the correct answer. Let's just check for this input. We run our code, and we paste this in, press enter. As you can see, it's capitalizing all the letter H's, just like over here. So if we submit this code, we should find that it works. It's taking a bit long today. There we go. So as you can see, our code works. Now, on to the next problem. So, the final task for strings is, given a string, delete all its characters whose indices are divisible by 3. So there are several ways of going about with this, but I think the best way and the most understandable way is to use a for loop. So first, let's just input our string. And we want to loop over every single character in the string and get them. So how do we do that? We can use for I in range length, or len s. So len s gives us the length of the string, and range returns all of the characters, all of these numbers between 0 and the length of s. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 until the length of s minus 1. Now, what do we do after? We want to check whether this I character is divisible by 3. And how do we do that? We're going to use the modulus operator, which is the percentage sign. So I mod 3 is equal to 0. What modulus does is it divides the number by this divisor and gets the remainder. So for example, 4 mod 3 is equal to 1, because 4 divided by 3 is 1 remainder of run. 5 modulo 3 is equal to 2, because it's equal to 1 remainder 2. And so if it's a multiple of 3, like 6 modulo 3 will be 0. And so this code here will check if the current character is divisible by 3. If it's divisible by 3, we want to skip it, which deletes it from the string. So we can put continue. And now we want to add the character to a new string. But first we need to create the new string. So let's call it new string is equal to just an empty string. And then down here, we can put new string plus equals the character at the index of I in the input string. Plus equals is shorthand for equals new string plus si. And so this also works for operators. For example, minus equals, times equals, and divide equals. And finally, we want to output our new string. So let's first check if this works. Let's copy our example input, press run, and type in Python. And as you can see, we get item, which is the correct output. So if we run this code, we should see that it works fine. And just like that, we've completed the challenges. That was the end of all of the REPL strings challenges. So next, we will be moving on to some harder challenges. The next challenge, 6.1, will introduce you to a new operand called the while loop. See you there.